What's going on, everybody? Good to see you guys. Hope you're all doing well. Um, doing an interesting podcast or a live stream today, and so I'm going to be bringing on my good friend and co-founder on in a moment. But as always, I see that follower number and that's that live view number going up. I love it. So if you can, you know how the show goes, or at least all my shows, which is, give me a second here. I got to find it. There we go. Go ahead and comment what city you're joining in from, and let me bring him on. My good friend
Hello.
and co-founder, Daigo Tanaka.
How you doing, Amal?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Good to see
Also,
you.
I'm excited to be here and learn from the leader on how to be thought leader on LinkedIn. I'm super excited myself. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And let me just quickly check my streams because we always have to do a sound check. This is not a high production show. It's high quality, high value, high
It's pretty
entertainment
low
value,
key,
but
There's
not
something
it's
about
not
low
it's not
key.
exactly
Yeah.
high production value. But it's going to be good. But yeah, I think that one of the all right. We got a lot of people watching, but no, I need some. Oh, there we go. Some people are commenting. Let's see where people are joining in from.
Yeah.
We got the goat,
Hi,
the
Dr.
kid,
Butt.
the goat, the greatest of all time in the
I
nephrology
see you all
space.
the
That's
time.
Qasim Butt joining from San Antonio. Good to see you. We got Marty Nichols. Hey, Marty, joining from Austin.
Hello.
Fantastic. We got Matt Nelson. Matt Nelson from Minneapolis. Big shout out to Matt Nelson. So Matt Nelson is a wealth advisor who's going to focus, explicitly on medtech. So he's going to be the medtech wealth advisor. He's going to help a lot of people in medtech make more money. Man, look, we got this is like a who's who of people on LinkedIn. We got the myth, the legend, Karandeep Singh Badwal.
Awesome.
Karandeep
Welcome.
joining from the UK. Thanks for joining us, Karandeep. Karandeep is a big thought leader, really well known in the regulatory and quality space. Regulatory and quality in medtech is like the most boring thing unless you follow Karandeep. His content is absolutely amazing. And quick side note, I always say this: I need to do like a side podcast with him. He's got to be the most interesting man I ever met in my life. And I've met a lot of interesting men, but Karandeep is like straight out of a James Bond film. If you go just follow him on LinkedIn, you'll see what I'm talking about. We have a private LinkedIn user from Seattle, Washington.
Awesome.
We're
Yeah.
live on YouTube and Twitter. So if those of you are watching on YouTube and Twitter, chime in. We got Gail Shui from Austin,
Hello, Gail.
Texas. We got Vendela Martin. Hey, Vendela from
Hello,
LA.
Gail.
Good to see you, Vendela. We got
Hi, Taka
Sakura
from Japan.
from Portugal. I didn't know
Oh, yeah,
Sakura
you're
was in
traveling
Portugal.
now.
All right,
Awesome.
Sakura Tanita, she's another Omni creator, really good content. I really love her stuff. We got Brett Berry from Sacramento. Brett's
Hi, Brett.
great. We got a lot of great content
Wow,
creators
I like
on.
the
That's
diversity.
fantastic. Jessica Peterson from Austin, Texas. Jeff Light from Hemosonics and Research Triangle Park in North Carolina. Awesome. Maggie Hayes from Tampa,
Hi,
Florida.
Maggie.
Keep bringing in, keep showing the love, people. And by the
Florida.
way, if you want to help me out, aside from commenting, if you like what we're doing, slam that emoji button, please. Let me bring up I have a special. Here we go. If you're enjoying the broadcast, hit that emoji button. I just want to see rainbows and just insanity, from this live stream. So anyway, Daigo, maybe you can introduce the topic. Why are we doing
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. So, hello. First of all, much fewer people know me. I'm a co-founder of Omni Creator. I'm a builder, and Omo is also co-founder of Omni Creator. We started to build something great together. And as probably everybody here know that Omo is a sales and marketing leader, especially on medical sales. And he has 32,000 followers, and the person I look up to in terms of like engaging in LinkedIn. So, I'm so glad to have this how to be a thought leader on LinkedIn live stream, our first ever live stream, and then over 70 people sign up. I'm so excited to be here. But I'm here to learn together with you. So with that, please, Omar, do your show.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So let me put you, let's see. We got different angles here. So we're gonna go with this is the angle that's good. So let's talk about thought leaders. So first of all, like why become a thought leader? Okay. Um we're all on LinkedIn to make money. Like let's just be very clear about that. Obviously, we want to provide value and everything, but we all run, either we run a business or we work in a business. In any case, the number one goal of business is to make money. Yes, you want to provide value, but if you're not good at making money, you're not going to be providing value for that much longer, right? So for me, for example, I provide a lot of value, as much value as I possibly can through my content and my podcast. If I wasn't good at making money, I'm not going to be like, that podcast is not going to continue on. I'm going to end up having to get a job or consider changing my business, right? So the idea is, if you're a thought leader, right? What does it mean to be a thought leader? It means you are leading people's thoughts, right? And so if you think about a mass of people who have a certain perspective, they're looking to somebody who they trust, right? So for example, for me, if you look at some of the interests I have. So right now, one of the things I've got into is golf, right? I really enjoy golf. I also really enjoy jujitsu. I don't spend my entire day thinking and doing those things. And so I look to thought leaders in those spaces. So like in jujitsu, I look at the Gracie family. I look at my professor, Tom Cronin, right? Who are thought leaders to shortcut my way in terms of how I should think and act to solve the problems that are related to those things. Same with you, whether you're working within a business, right? Or you're an entrepreneur. You have to be looked at as a problem solver, right? For example, when the toilet in my house stops working or the sink's not working, right? There's a specific plumber that I call because I've seen their content, right? So it's plumbing, but like, it's convinced me that like this person really knows what they're doing, and I like that, right? And so if you think about the depth of content, right? If you're able to demonstrate how much thought you put into it without even showing a product, right? You're able to develop thought leadership. Small example I'd like to give is, you think about the world of watches, right? And let me, I'm going to, quickly jump to Instagram and see if I can pull it up. Here we go. The other thing, by the way, I decided not to do is to make this boring and have like a slide deck and everything. We're going to have a little bit more fun. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right. If we go to a window or a Chrome tab, here we go. Let's see. Okay. So here we go. Chrome tab. There we go. If we look at, like brands, like let's say Rolex, for example, if we go to the Rolex page, right? There's a lot of great content here, but also you start to see like things like this, right? Look at them, look at aside from the engaging content, you're starting to see like the inner workings of the watch, how much time they put into making these things, etc., right? And so the idea is like Rolex is a thought leader when it comes to watches, right? When you're able to demonstrate that you've put in more time, thought, and energy into this one specific problem than anybody else, by default, people will look to you as a thought leader, okay? I'm going to close my window over here. It's making too much noise.
Awesome.
Right. So that's the main thing. Now, I have 5 specific steps when it comes to thought leadership. And for me, I've studied this quite a lot, actually, because my biggest thing is that thought leadership comes from a point of view of persuasion. Okay. And so the first thing I want to start, just to lay the ground for the 5 steps of thought leadership, is that I want to teach you guys some basics of persuasion first. Okay. And of course, the GOAT when it comes to all persuasion, I have to get his books just to
look at the massive library in the back.
I gotta show you. You can't consider yourself a student of persuasion if you not study these. But Robert Cialdini. So if you wanna really study persuasion, there's 3 books you got to get.
Oh, I love the
Yes, by Robert Cialdini. Okay. Everybody, when I do these live streams, everybody wants me to do books. So Persuasion, and of course, Influence, the updated version of Influence. Okay. And so I recommend buying those books, but I'm going to kind of shortcut your way with how you should think about persuasion. Okay. And I'm going to start with this right over here. Let's just highlight this. Okay. R class U. Okay. So
Our class U.
our class U. So this is our class and we're learning, right? So that's how I want you to. So the first one is reciprocity. I do something nice for you, you do something nice for me, right? That's very persuasive. It's so persuasive that in my industry, which is healthcare, it's almost illegal. You can't give doctors presents anymore because it's such a strong thing. But in the digital world, reciprocity also works. So for example, if you're trying to get engagement from a big influencer, you know what the best way to do that is? So for me, I've had Sahil Bloom retweet, one of my tweets a few weeks ago, which is pretty cool. I've had, Scott Adams, Zuby, other big people who've engaged with me, right? The best way to do that, show them some love on their own content, right? So on Twitter, for example, you want to get the attention of a big influencer. Don't just retweet their tweet, because that's what lots of people do. Do something that's a step further, which is retweet with a quote, meaning you retweet them and you write something commenting about that tweet, because there's a lot fewer people doing that. And that's a great way to create reciprocity, right? The next one, the C, is commitment and consistency. Okay. Commitment and consistency is simply put is that whatever we say we do, we believe in, we talk about it, we try and stay committed and consistent with that. So for example, if you are, let's say you're trying to become a thought leader with chief technology officers, well, you know what chief technology officers like? They like to, I don't care what CTO you talk to, tech, oil and gas, whatever, they all want to be seen as innovative, right? And so if you try and put the frame of this is what an innovative person does, that's persuasive with those people. Okay. L is liking. Okay. We generally are persuaded by people we like. Okay. And part of that is people who are like us, for example. So, for me, I'm going to generally like somebody if they come from the same cultural background as me, they kind of look like me. That's just natural. The other thing is the way you present yourself. Being attractive helps. Being well-dressed helps, right? And so when it comes to thought leadership, you want to look good, right? And looking good can be just simply putting on a nice shirt, just looking presentable. But also when you engage with your audience, if you are pleasant, you're personable, all these things, just think about what does it take to make somebody like you. You have to be nice to them. You're encouraging all these different things. Again, I'm going to use Sahil Bloom as a great example for those of you who follow him. In all his Instagram posts, in his videos, his stories, he's always in a really good mood. He's always got a good personality and everything. He's kind of like this older brother that everybody needs, right? That's very persuasive. Okay. A is for authority. Okay. Now, this helps a lot when it comes to thought leadership, because if you're an authority, the key is how do you become this, right? And we're going to talk about that here. The easier way is through education and academic appointments. Like if you have an MD, an MBA at the end of your name, for example, if you're a clinician, right? You have a clinical background, you have a white coat on. They used to sell Camel cigarettes by having a doctor in a white coat, right? That's an authority figure, okay? S is scarcity. The more scarce something is, the more persuasive it's going to be, right? So scarcity can be, for example, when it comes to Rolex, they make a certain number of watches, right? Or if you look at my podcast, there are people who have come on my show. They have never been on any other podcast and they're not going to go on any other podcast, right? That's pretty persuasive, right? That makes me more persuasive just by having rare people come on my show, okay? S, and this is probably the one that everybody knows, but I think too many people focus on, which is social proof. Social proof is very powerful, right? Which means the more people who endorse it, the better. The reason why is that this brain of ours is, 5,000 years old, 5,000. It has not evolved. It's not going to evolve. And so we come up with shortcuts in our brain to figure out how to make decisions. So if we're going to caveman and cavewoman times, if everybody was eating a certain berry, it's I don't need to, think about whether I should eat this berry or not. Everybody else is doing it. Okay. And the last one and this is a powerful one, especially when it comes to LinkedIn, is unity. Okay. Unity is the seventh principle of persuasion that Robert Cialdini discovered like 20 or 30 years later through his research. Unity is very different from social proof and liking these ones. Unity means like as a tribe, things that we do together, what unifies us, right? So if you look at, here I'm in SoCal, there's a lot of like bikers here, Harley Davidson owners. They have a unity of how they act and do things as Harley Davidson owners. Here on LinkedIn, there's a lot of solopreneurs. So Daigo is a solopreneur. I'm a solopreneur. I mean, technically, we're not solopreneurs on OmniCreator because we're co-founders, right?
No, we're collaborative solopreneurs.
Collaborative solopreneurs, exactly. So there's
new category.
So there's a certain thing that we do, right, that we're influenced by. Okay. Yeah. So let me take a stop there.
Just to let me put this is a lot to digest, but I've seen those first principles, but Unity was a quite new one, I suppose. I didn't see in the original writing.
Yeah, and Unity, and someone asked a question. So Unity was discovered in Persuasion, and that's probably a good segue. We have somebody from joining from Saudi Arabia. What's up, Naif? Good to see you. So Abshir asked, which order do you recommend reading the books? Okay, here's the order I recommend. Number 1 is influence. You read this one first. Okay, this is the 6 principles. I would say you should take, in my opinion, 2 months to read this. Okay, the reason why, look, you should be able to sit down and read a book like this in a few hours. But if you want to embody what you're learning, I recommend a persuasion principle per week. So week 1, you focus on reciprocity. Then this. So in general, it'll take you 6 weeks to read this. And each week you focus on one principle of persuasion. So you really focus on it, you use it, you observe it in the wild.
So you recommend you try to practice one by one while you read in the book, going through the book.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. That's exactly right.
Cool.
Next one is persuasion. Persuasion reviews a lot of stuff in influence, but this is where it talks about unity. And the idea of persuasion is, what do you do before the moment of persuasion? Okay, so this is a very good one. And then the last one is yes, right? Robert Cialdini is one of 3 authors on this. This is more like case studies, right? So after you've studied persuasion, this is kind of good to kind of go through and just, read and understand.
I haven't done one. Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
And let me see. Naif has a question. Are leaders born with leadership, or leadership can be acquired over time? Because I have heard many answers. What is the logic?
I always wonder that.
I think it's a combination of both. I think that there's some people who are just like genetically, naturally born leaders. And I'll give you a great example. Okay. Being a leader means you're willing to do things to guide others, right? And do things first. You're not afraid of failure, right? There's a lot of things of what does it mean to be a leader. If you look at my son is barely 14, 15 months old. Okay. He's going to be a leader. I can just tell, right? And the reason why is because he's very, very brave. He's courageous. He's willing to do things before other people show him how to do it. And then while he's doing it, he actually enjoys helping and showing others. So like he can't talk yet, but he does this with me and my wife, right? The other side of it is that there are people who can be trained into leadership. Okay. And so again, and by the way, just to be very clear, there are people I know who are VPs, C-suite people. I don't consider them leaders. So just because you rose high enough to be in a position of a boss, that does not make you a leader. Okay, my best definition of a leader is that you're able to be persuasive to get somebody to do something, right? Regardless of whether or not they do it, and then while they're doing it, they're motivated behind it. That's to me the definition of leader. And of course, there's
a more effective definition.
Yeah, and of course, like there's a lot that comes into leadership, like servant leadership, these kind of things. But just to be clear, like just because you're a VP, that does not make you a leader, right? I'll give you one last thing before I jump in, and we're gonna get into the 5-step framework. And by the way, I'm loving the questions and emojis. Please keep that up. My late mentor, Chris Sells, who passed away a few years ago, he was a remarkable leader. He brought out the best in people. He could take a bum off the street and turn them into an all-star. But more importantly, when he goes to a new company and he picks up the phone or does a post and says, hey, I want to recruit some people, people would quit their jobs to go work for that guy. That when you know that, when people gravitate towards you like a magnet, that's when I think you become a great leader, because people are willing to do more for less, right? Just to work and be led by you. You know? AJ, the great AJ Henty, look good, feel good, play good. Yeah, totally, man. Absolutely. All right. So now we got these principles of persuasion down. Okay. Let's get into the 5-step frameworks of what does it mean to become a leader. And by the way, before we jump into that, I want to we're going to go through these 5 steps. There's a combination of things that we're going to have here, by the way. One is the strategy of how do you become a thought leader, and the other one is tools, right? We live in the digital age. Like, you need to use tools. One of those tools, of course, is OmniCreator. It's been a big help to me. This is why I teamed up with Daigo, and it's a fantastic tool, but more importantly, community. This is the thing that I really loved. You know, Daigo had this vision where he said, you know, it's more than just creating a great piece of software. We want to create a community. So there's a great community of other creators. We have some of the Omni creators who are influencers who are watching right now.
I absolutely appreciate when co-founder shares the vision I try to communicate. I was just
Thank you. No, absolutely. So that being said, we got some free stuff for you guys. So Omni Creator is invite only, but for certain events, we try and do these events where we know that the kind of people we want in that community are going to join. So right now, you can join, try it for free. You know, you automate your content, grow your LinkedIn. Just go to omnicreator.club and use the code OmniStream. Okay. If you want, do it during this live stream, because we're not going to leave that code up for a while, because we're also trying to manage the way we grow. We don't want like 1,000 people signing up. So, but you know, we've kind of prepared for that today. Okay. So let's get into the 5 steps. So let me move it here. And Daigo, if you don't hear me, let me know. So step number 1.
I hear you.
Okay.
You're doing great.
Okay. You want a strong and different point of view. Okay. When it comes to thought leadership, like, you need people to lead. Okay. It's very difficult to lead people if you don't have a point of view on things. And when I say strong and different, strong means like it is unwavering. You get like, you know, you get really, you know, amped up talking about it, and it needs to be different. Okay. So I'm going to use myself as an example. One of my big point of views for my business and everything is that I believe that you should sell in medicine and in healthcare using social media and digital. You should not be getting in the car and driving and showing up and having a conversation with the doctor in person. That's okay to do later, but you should be doing everything possible to scale digitally, right? So that's a very different point of view in my industry, believe it or not. And it's very, very strong. Like, I'll debate this with anybody. So you have to, you know, you have to find a point of view that you're willing to like lay it down on the line. It can't be like wishy-washy, right? Another great example. Okay. I'm going to use Justin Welsh. So a good friend of mine, Justin Welsh. If you hear the word solopreneur, I don't think Justin created that category, but he owns it, right? So his point of view, right? His point of view, his point of view, Justin's point of view, you know, and specifically on LinkedIn, is like, I can, you know, scale a solo business by myself, just using automation and just good content. I can get that to $2-3 million a year. His goal is to get, I think, to $5 million a year. Yeah, he's pretty damn close.
To add to your point, you know, when I heard like solopreneur like 10 years ago, I feel like it's weak, but he made it so strong, you know, be unique. And it just made something special, and not just being, hey, I'm just running by myself.
100%. And I think the difference between like somebody who's by themselves, like a consultant and everything, and a solopreneur is that as a solopreneur, right, you are a thought leader, and then you're able to use tools and automation to your advantage, right? So that's the thing. Now, once you have a strong and different point of view, and I think, you know, a great way to judge your point of view is through this formula. Okay. I call this the one belief. Okay, this is $1 million lesson. Okay, so the one belief, and this was developed by a guy. I wish I let me see if I can find the book. I can't. It's a guy out of Agora Publishing. Okay, Agora is like well known for like very persuasive copies. So the one belief is, let me write this down. You have a new opportunity plus a desire / pain plus a vehicle. Okay. And so if you think about it, here we go. Okay. If you think about what you're doing,
can you bring that a little closer?
Oh,
so
yeah.
we can see?
Yeah. Ugh. Okay.
There you go.
So this is probably in the future. We'll redo this, but I should probably have slides, but I hate making slides. This is a lot better. Okay. So here's the thing. I want you to think about going from point A to point B. The whole purpose, like psychologically, Freud came up with this, which is people in life are always moving away from pain and fear and moving towards desires and pleasures. Okay. So your one belief, which is the one belief, like it's a busy world. You have one belief to give, right? Which is your point of view. You got to start with an old problem, which is stemmed in pain. Okay. And come up with a new opportunity. That new opportunity is a new road. It's like, hey, you want to go from point A to point B? There's this new road to get there. It's that's the new opportunity. Okay. And that'll get you to the desired goal. Okay. And the way you get there on that road is you got to take this vehicle. Okay. That vehicle is your product. Okay. So for example, and let me pull something up real quick. Daigo, maybe you can kind of give me a little bit of feedback on your thoughts on when I share that. What kind of comes to mind?
Yeah, I like the. Oh, are you giving out example now? I was going to.
No, I want you to. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the subway. Like example you mentioned before on one belief.
Yeah. Exactly. So look, let me share my screen here. Chrome tab. We want a Chrome tab. Here we go. Okay. And let me do here we go. There we go. Okay. All right. So when it comes to with a one belief, you have this new opportunity plus an existing desire and pain, and you have a new vehicle. Okay. Now let's jump to some examples of that one belief. Okay. So again, your one belief breakdown is what's the new idea for the old thing and how is it unique? Okay. Keep in mind, new idea for the old thing. Always start, figure out that existing desire and pain and then that vehicle. Okay. By the way, this is a terrible slide. This is meant to be sent out, not to be presented. This is a terrible slide because there's too much type on there. Okay. Now let's go to some examples of that. All right. Let's look at proactive. Remember proactive where you use it for skin? Here's their new opportunity. Attacking acne at every stage of the cycle. That's the new opportunity. Is the key to keeping your skin clear and healthy. That's the existing desire. And it's attainable only through proactive combination therapy. That's the new vehicle. Okay. Let me do another one. P90X, avoiding the plateau effect. Okay. That's the new opportunity. It's like, what's a plateau effect? How do you avoid it? Right? Is the key to building muscle. Hey, that's my desire. And it's sustainable only through P90X's muscle confusion system. This is a really strong vehicle because I can get rid of P90X here and call the muscle confusion system. P90X owns that. Okay.
So my first reaction to that is like, what is muscle confusion? Like
exactly. That's exactly the reaction you want for people to be like, what is that? And look, the last one, which Daigo, you were mentioning, Subway, eating healthy fast food, that's the new opportunity. Okay. So think about that. Eating healthy fast food. That's like almost like an oxymoron. Like that immediately gets that's a new opportunity. What the hell is healthy fast food? Is the key to losing weight. Again, that's an existing desire, and it's attainable only through a diet based on Subway sandwiches. Again, when it comes to vehicle, people immediately jump to product, but I feel like you can create a category out of your product without mentioning it. Okay.
I noticed that on the Subway example, this opportunity is presented a little slightly different from previous few example. Like, it almost feels like itself is, healthy fast food. It's not about like, pain, but more on the something new.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You're absolutely right, Daigo. And the reason why that's important, by the way, if you guys have any questions or comments, please just drop them in. The
Yeah,
reason
absolutely.
why it's important, right, is because new and novel gets our attention. Okay. Think about it like as an animal, right? If I'm out in the wilderness or something, if I'm walking and I see something new could potentially kill me. So my attention's immediately going to go to it, right? If I'm walking and the sky, all the clouds are here, but then all of a sudden a dark cloud is there, that's technically new. So that immediately gets my attention. The name of the game here, my friends, is getting attention. If you can't get attention, you cannot persuade. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
Let me add some more thoughts here, like, because like, fast food, of course, everybody associate with like fat and unhealthy, but like presented unhealthy fast food, just what is that? And then almost like I never thought about it, and then unexpected, and it unlocks even new desire, which I never thought about before knowing this word, healthy fast food.
That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. So that's how I want you guys to think about this. Okay, which is like what's the one like if you go to my profile, I think what does my profile have now? Helping medtech reps grow pipeline remotely using social media. Again, so again, think about the one belief. There's a desire there, right? There's a pain because like they don't, being remote for a sales rep is very difficult, right? And then the new vehicle, I don't say it's my program or course or strategy. I say it's through social media. That's the vehicle, right? Now, from there, we get into the category. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but again, if you have a point of view, right, you technically have a category, okay? So the reason why you want to be good at promoting the category, and again, big shout out to Christopher Lockhead and the Category Pirates.
Great
Like
job.
we talk a lot about this. The purpose, again, is being different. When you're different, right, the whole big theme here is being different gets attention, but it also forces a choice. If I have something like, let's say there's all these other options here, and then here's mine, right? Like I have a black circle. These are just open circles. I can still compare them. You don't want to be in the comparison game because you know what happens in the comparison game? It's like, well, what's the price of this? People compare, but when you're able to compare directly, you don't want to be in that space because now you're part of these people and you're going to be playing by their rules. If I make this a black square and put it over here, people have to make a choice between number one and number two. There's no comparison, right? And then if you separate yourself far enough, so instead of like, let's say a black square, I guess a square is close to a circle. Let's say it's a black triangle. That's even more different, which means that this stands out more. And some of the people from here, they might come over to your solution, right? That's the whole goal, okay? The niches, the riches are in the niches, right? And it's very difficult to commit to that. People say that all the time, but it's very difficult to commit,
Yeah, another phrase that reminds me, like, when Pete feels that competition is for losers, it just sticks in my mind always.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
So
And
you were saying that by unlocking your own category, you will change the game from competition to your table, your thing, your game.
Exactly right, 100%. Exactly right, 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100 Okay, I have terrible handwriting, but again, I'm trying to make sure that
If you can
we
read
don't
that,
run out
that'd
of
be great.
time.
Yeah,
We
I'm
don't.
trying to read.
So the last three.
You can make, hey, you can make my picture disappear or smaller. So
Oh yeah.
that,
Here, let me do
yeah,
that.
oh,
Okay.
that's much
So
better.
the last three, engage and collaborate, because it helps to engage with people with that perspective and point of view, right? Because again, that's one other way to drive attention and traffic and discovery online through LinkedIn. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. Number 4 is consistent content creation. You can't have a point of view and make content once a week, twice. Like, you have to constantly be hitting the market, because people may not have that problem that you solve that day, but they might have it a few months from now. And so you need to make sure that you're doing enough to stay top of mind, so when they have that problem, you immediately come to mind. Look, Apple's got one of the most powerful brands on planet Earth. Apple still markets itself. It still takes out ads and everything. And by the way, I'm going to make a comment for the public service announcement guy. There's always one guy who's like, "Oh, but Omar, Tesla doesn't market. Tesla doesn't have any marketing, blah, blah." Yeah, you're right. Tesla doesn't have any marketing. It also helps that the richest man in the world is their CEO, and he himself is like a marketing machine. He's like one of the most persuasive people, alive. So that kind of helps, So don't compare. You're not Tesla, okay? Don't compare yourself to that, okay? And then lastly, and by the way, last note on Tesla had a lot of earned media too. The last thing is analyze and repeat. So in creating your point of view, your category and everything, right? There are certain nuances to language and everything that you have to keep in mind, right? In order to improve the content. Now, the last thing I'm going to share, and I'm going to share screen, and I'm going to walk you through my workflow in OmniCreator, is that when you do all of this, you technically have a nice funnel of content. Okay. Now, I think funnels are outdated, but it's for visual purposes, it makes it really easy. Okay.
By the way, when you draw, like, so, consistency. I have my own reflection that, I post on LinkedIn every day, and then people don't engage, suddenly come to me one day after they have problem, and then first person, mine is data and engineering, right? So first, that day they have the problem, the first person to reach out is me, like, but they never engaged with my post. That was the key, I think.
Yeah. No, and again, that's why I tell people to don't get hung up with the numbers. The first thing in your top of funnel is getting attention. So sometimes getting attention has nothing to do with what you sell or what you do. You have to get attention because you have to go larger, right? After that, if you're able to get attention well, you can bring people down and start doing to get more in consideration of things. So for example, this is where your point of view, your category all come into place. In my personal opinion, if all you do is talk about this point of view and category and everything, that's great. You're going to own that, but you're going to limit yourself to that group of people. You have to do things every now and then that go outside of that scope, that have nothing to do with your business, just to get attention, because you have no idea if one person who does not fit your category today, maybe they do a year or two from now, right? People change jobs, they change personalities, all kinds of things. And then the last thing is that at the very bottom, this is where you make money, right? Is where you focus on like your vehicle and new opportunities. So up here, attention is like anything you want, whatever it is, whatever it takes to get attention. Once you have attention through the algorithm on LinkedIn, like content will be refed to these people. And some of them will fall into this category where you talk about a new point of view, a new opportunity, everything, and then they'll continue to engage with your content, right? So there's a balance here, right? So some of the best like influencers on LinkedIn and other platforms, they do a great job, in my opinion, of focusing on their point of view and category. However, I feel like they have to in some time go above and beyond that, because that's one way to expand your TAM, or your total addressable market.
Hey, so, Omar, Karandeep has a question.
Karandeep, yes. Comment. Okay. Karandeep has said, I've had that too. A large portion of people who reach out to me for work are the ones who have not engaged in my content in the form of likes and comments, but enjoy what I put out. Absolutely. Look, Karandeep is a great example of it. I'm going to use Karandeep as an example. Before I jump to OmniCreator, I'm going to walk through my workflow. Karandeep is in like a niche within a niche within a niche. He does regulatory and quality consulting and strategy for medical device companies. Okay.
Wow.
It's like a niche within it.
Very, very specific.
Exactly. Now, a big majority of his content from the videos and posts are focused on that. However, he also has other content that shows more dimensions of him. He's into shooting. He's into guns. Again, I told you, most interesting man in the world. Like he drives like luxury European cars. So like he has this interesting life where you're always interested, like, oh, wonder what that guy's up to, or like, so that's enough to get attention, right? So again, he has a good blend of those things. And so again, when I think of regulatory and quality, I mean, there's literally thousands of people who are in there. He's the only guy that comes to mind. Like,
let me pause here because this is very counterintuitive. Because, like, especially on LinkedIn, people want to look professional, and then some people have hesitation posting something hobby or something that shows their personality. Can you put some thoughts around that? To just versus attention, and profession, your other things going on, but you seem to be okay just showing everything here to just catch attention.
Can you say the question one more time?
Yeah. So the people has hesitation putting out something that is outside the profession because that just blurs their professionalism or maybe hindered. And but hearing you and Karandeep's the example that putting out something that shows personality outside profession also helps sometimes. And what's your thought around this balance? Or can you expand that a little bit?
It's really up to you. Like some people are not comfortable posting about, like, let's say their family, for example, or their personal. That's fine. But I would say like you should go out of your way to share some more about you, because again, like, business ain't easy. Making money ain't easy. You have to make some hard decisions. And so like sometimes you have to put yourself out there so that people know who you are before they meet you. A lot of business is still old school, a lot of it, which means like people like to do business with people not only that they like, but they trust, right? And so what better way to develop trust than to say, hey, look, here are my values. Here's what I believe in. Like if you look at between not just LinkedIn, but also my Instagram and everything, one thing everybody should do here, if you're an entrepreneur and business owner, you have an Instagram, go look at your Instagram and see what does that communicate about you. If you go look at my Instagram has like 2 or 3 things: my family, work, and things I'm doing to get better physically and mentally. So like that's all I'm about. One of the things that I do, like for example, if I'm considering hiring somebody like as a salesperson, if I go to their Instagram and all I see is like travel photos and like fun and party, I'm not interested in hiring that person. Sorry, because like that's like all they're interested in doing. I want to hire somebody who's like
really. Allow me to give one example from me. So one day I posted on LinkedIn that my baking pizza activity with a special oven I bought, and somehow the inventor of the special oven saw me on LinkedIn. Somehow I'm not connected, and contacted me and then connected with me, and he started asking me questions about data analytics, which is my profession. And that's how that's it was mind blown how hobby connects to your profession in unexpected way.
That's exactly. You never know. And again, to Karandeep's point, look, a lot of people don't like or comment on my posts, but some of the most powerful people I've met, investors, CEOs, they've been following my stuff. They don't like and engage, but they see it. They pay attention to it. That's all all you care about. There's so many things on social media you're not able to track. Okay. Now, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Okay. And I'm going to show you like my workflow for something for OmniCreator. And give me 1 second. I'm just going to pull something up real quick.
Yeah, just a while Omar is setting up. So we created OmniCreator to kind of facilitate and automate all these like principles Omar just laid out. especially focused on LinkedIn. Created around your personal branding and then content creation, and then everybody's busy, doing other stuff like if you're medical sales, you may be on road, but with OmniCreator, you can schedule content so that you can show up on LinkedIn every day, the same time, consistently. So that will really reflection of the one of the principles Omar just laid out. And then you can be also like expressive with media library, OmniCreator host for you. You can reuse your media, anywhere you want. And also like you can create attention catching like headline with emoji or different fonts. And so all these are created. It seems like in the feature by feature, but all this created as needed because Omar and I, what's common between us is a solopreneur try to build business from zero to ground zero. From zero. So everything was designed and built in a way that we need. And and then it turned out everything we do is just happen to everything we built happened to be also needed by many others, including yours. So how are you doing, Mo?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So let me share with you. So again, the last three: engage and collaborate, consistent content creation, and analyze and repost. So just to develop thought leadership, I think what's most important is that you need to find ways to engage with other people like you and engage with your audience. The dumbest thing I see people do is that they'll create, nice content, they'll post it up and they'll just leave it. Content creation, thought leadership is an active, like you have to go to the market, and the market in this case would be LinkedIn. So you have to go and engage with them. All right. I don't care. At some point you get a large enough following. You don't have to engage with everybody. Even me with 32,000 followers, I still engage with people in my content because if they take the time to leave a comment, a thoughtful comment on my post, you want to engage with that person because you're trying to recruit them to your tribe, to your, to what you believe in. Right. And
it
so
also shows your personality or maybe misrepresent your personality if you just post and leave. And then people may think, oh, this person doesn't really care, just a post and then just to forget. This person doesn't engage. That's not what we want to do, right? So you want to be seen as people who care. And then that's why, at least on the same day or next day, after I post, I try to respond to every single comment I received.
100%, man, 100%. So look, here's a piece that I'm going to show you that I of how I do it. So when it comes to engaging, right? So again, we're inside OmniCreator. This is what I like about OmniCreator. Sometimes when it comes to engaging, it's hard to find your tribe. That's why you create content. But in the meantime, engaging with other thought leaders, other creators really helps a lot. So one of the favorite thing I like to do is when I'm in OmniCreator, I'll show you how I create my posts. I go to this thing right here called Community. Okay. And again, I'm able to see all these other, see AJ Henty's there. Sakura's somewhere around here. So I'm able to see other people who've put content. So I'm going to go to AJ, for example. Right. So if I click that, it opens his posts up. He's got some great engagement on this. I'm going to heart this, and I'll leave a comment. Right. So let's see. I'll leave a thought. So sales now, you have to enjoy small victories, book a demo, great work. Yeah, and actually, I know exactly what to say for this because it's a topic that I'm very into. You always have to look for the 3 small wins you have for the day. That's why it's a journey, right? Okay. So just by engaging with AJ, again, what principle of persuasion we have there? Reciprocity. It's the reason why AJ also engages my stuff because we support each other, right? Being a creator, being an influencer is hard because sometimes it's lonely, except when you have a community of other people who are trying to accomplish that same thing. If I just go on LinkedIn, if I scroll my feed, can I find people like that and figure that out? Probably, right? Except it just makes it a lot easier when you're in a closed community like this, like OmniCreator, okay? Now, going back to my post, okay, if I look at, I'm going to jump to number 5 real quick. There was a post I did a while back with one of the people who I had on my show, Martin Shkreli. This guy has nothing to do. What's that?
Farmer Bro, right?
Yeah, Farmer Bro, exactly. He was a great interview. This episode, him, has nothing to do with what I sell. So if some people say like, why would you post that? Because we're thinking about top of funnel. How do we get attention, right? Good or bad, okay? And so this post I did pretty well. I got 3,900 impressions, right? Some comments, okay, and it drove a lot of traffic to my podcast, right? So since I have that data, right, and I was able to find that data looking at my post reactions here in OmniCreator. It was back, where was it? Here we go, right here. So I knew that this actually performed a little bit better than some of my other recent posts, right? And so I was able to identify that post and say, hey, let me find some more content like that. So if I go to the create, now I'm going to create my post, okay? So first, if we look here, my interview with Martin Shkreli with full surprises, here's one take that he had. Hooks are good. And again, you're able to see the preview generated here. How can I make that stand out? Well, if I highlight this and I bold it, that helps. All right, so that looks better. Okay. Maybe I add an emoji. Okay, so I'm going to add an emoji pointing down, maybe a fire emoji. There's a whole psychology behind emojis that I'm not going to get into right now. Okay, so
we need to do the second live show.
Yeah. Oh, totally. that by itself helped a lot, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and add my content. One of the most difficult things as a creator is like you have to, I might create a great video. No matter how good your video or content is, it only goes in front of a small percentage of people that are following you on LinkedIn. So you should always reuse content. The problem is you have to go find the file, download everything. When I have OmniCreator, if I go to this media library and I click it, and by the way, we're the only ones who have this, okay? If I search the media library and I put in Martin Shkreli, right? I go to, here we go. I got to go to my videos. Here are my videos from Martin Shkreli. So I'm going to use, this is the one that I wanted to use, right? And again, if I go to this media library, I can go far back. All my videos are here, all my images. If I want to use a GIF, I can use a GIF as well.
Yeah, type some word, like funny word there.
Yeah, so I type in robot. Look, I got all kinds of GIFs I can use. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
who said LinkedIn has to be boring, right?
Yeah, LinkedIn should not be. Yeah, it should never be boring, right? So now it's processing.
And so just to interrupt you, so for media, just let me clarify. So you can use image, you can store image, you can store a video, and now you can store PDF. You want to do this sliding carousel, and then you can use GIF. So just
that's right. We now we have the PDF, which is great. Yeah. And so now it's already loaded up. The other thing is I have this. I'm not gonna
by the way, AJ, hi AJ, thanks for the shout out. Truly appreciate the support, Omar. Proud to be an Omni community member. Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Perfect. To the episode. So I'm gonna change this up a little bit. So for example, so the other thing is that I want to drive engagement to my podcast, to my episode, right? So I took this post here and I actually put it, we have OmniCreator GPT. So here we go. I told OmniCreator, I was like, hey, look, pretend to be a persuasive LinkedIn copywriter, take this post, make it more engaging. It went ahead and did that for me. So I just went ahead and copied that over into the post, okay? So already posted. Now we want to add some hashtags. I don't know about you, but even as much as I use LinkedIn, hashtags, like I don't know sometimes. And I always have to search them. So for example, if I type in pharmaceuticals here, there's a hashtag, 1 million followers, definitely want to use that. Let's find another one.
Yeah, so the hashtag, as you type for major top 600 hashtags, it will show number of followers. So you will know which hashtags are effective and popular enough for you.
Exactly. And then for those, there's a group of hashtags I always use. So we have this sticky note here. I go ahead and click this. A lot of my notes, like for example, I always use this click below to listen to. I don't have to remake that. It's saved here. Here are my medical sales hashtags. So I'm going to use some of these. Based on some of the research I found, using somewhere between 7 to 9 hashtags is probably the best. Okay. And the whole reason why you use hashtags is because people follow these hashtags. So that's way people who are not connected to you can discover you. So now I have my hashtags in. Here's the only other problem, guys, is that when you post content, let's say you're trying to send people to your website or your YouTube channel or your podcast or something, you can't put a link in the post. You could, but LinkedIn will automatically decrease the reach of that. So how do you get around that? LinkedIn has now stopped penalizing you if you comment on your own post. What you don't want to do is get in a habit of posting and then going and commenting. Daigo put up this great feature where it auto comments. So now if I come here, right, let me go to this feed real quick. I'm just going to grab it from here. This is the actual episode. All right. I can go ahead and drop this comment in here and it'll post. Okay. So now everything is done. All my content is there. I'm happy with it. I have emojis. You know, maybe if I want to add some more flavor, I'll do that. And I'll put another call to action at the end. Check the links in the comments to listen to the full episode. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'll go ahead and bold that as well. Okay.
Yeah. That way you can focus on your content and post, and then you can also schedule the comment that will be automatically attached to your post right after post is created. Comment will be also created so that your post doesn't get degraded by LinkedIn algorithm.
Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and click post. It says, are you ready to post? And by the way, I can schedule this. So let me go ahead and schedule this out. Yeah. So I want this to post today. Actually, I'm going to have this post tomorrow because today I have another podcast that I'm releasing. I'm going to have this post tomorrow at 8 a.m. I'm going to set the schedule, click schedule. It says yes. And then probably the best part of OmniCreator, boom, emojis and everything. This is how Daigo Tanaka high fives you digitally every single time you post. Yeah. And again, I can go to my content calendar here and look, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't made any content. I got to fill this part out. This is how, because again, being a creator, it takes a lot of effort. You have to use tools to automate and get better about this. And so with OmniCreator, not only do you have tools that are going to help you become a better writer, store your content, reuse it, etc., but you also have this great community. And lastly, one of the best things is that the team feature. So if you're a creator,
not yet. It will come. The teaser.
Sorry, teaser.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's go over because I'm almost ready to release this.
Okay. But, so Daigo added a team feature. You can connect your pages. So for example, these are my company pages. So
man.
Here's my company page. Here's my podcast page. So now I can auto post and schedule from my company page, and I can invite a team member. So that's
when I talked about Dr. Scott was really excited because he has his own podcast and LinkedIn page, which is connected to his podcast. So he needs to post both personal account and podcast account. And then before Omni, we only supported personal account. That now we're going to support LinkedIn page, and his reaction was awesome. Like he was super excited. So
that's awesome. And so just a reminder again, for those who want to try OmniCreator for free to automate your content and everything and grow your LinkedIn, go to omnicreator.club, use the code OmniStream. Again, we're not leaving that code up forever. You're going to be able to use it for free for 30 days and you're going to be able to benefit from the community. You're really going to love it. Go check it out now. And let's see. While we're doing that, let me see what question.
Marty has a question.
Marty has a question. Marty's question is: do you talk at all about posting for the sake of posting versus posting legit and interesting content? It's a great question. Okay, Marty, here's my thing. What defines interesting and legit content? I've been in the game for a long time. I've been creating content for almost over 10 years across different channels. To this day, there are articles. You can go back in go to my LinkedIn, go to my article history and go backwards, and you will find like articles that you can tell. Okay, if you go look at the Amazon acquires One Medical article analysis I did, I put a lot of effort into that, like weeks of effort. That got like, I think, I don't know, 30 or 40 likes. Like no one. I wrote another article that took me literally less than 15 minutes to put together, and it got like 100, 200. You never know what people are going to like and resonate. As you create more content, you get better. That'll happen. But again, keep in mind, the only way you're going to get better at writing, at content and everything, is that you have to have more content. Okay. I know that some people might disagree with me about this, but you know what? Things on the internet live for a very, very short time. Okay. And I'll tell you the best piece of marketing advice that the owner of and founder of Men's Warehouse told me about marketing. The guy knows a lot about marketing. He said a lot of marketing has a lot to do with consistency and persistence. It's not creativity. And I agree, you know? So you're better off creating like 5 to 10, like, you know, decent posts than one like really overproduced post, because it's only going to last so long. Right. Yeah. And so again, the way you want to think about this is that you can't judge the content all the time. It's only the audience that can. And number two, the way you improve is by more repetitions. You got to have more reps. It's like going to the gym.
Let me add to that with my experience, because I've been doing this challenge of posting on social media every single day for 30 days, and I never missed this 30 days. But this exercise forces you to, okay, what to post today, and then of course you run out of the idea, but just your brain rewires while you do this exercise, and then after 30 days you become like, I have so many ideas already, and I can't stop. That kind of like the brain rewire happens. And then and also sometimes posting is more about reformatting your previous content you created, which may not have like performing well, but for some reason by reformatting it starts performing very well, and then revitalizing the idea you generated before. And of course, Omni Creator has the content reuse recycle feature. And if you go back to the calendar and then click on recycle bar, the draft will come back to the editor, so you can tweak what you have laid out before, and tweak that and then repost. And then this time around it might catch more attention than before. We'll see. We all have to experiment every day. Yeah, we need to push out, ship out.
That's exactly correct. And and something I was going to say is just like, again, the most important thing is to get started. Don't spend so much time thinking. Like what I recommend is do your best to come up with content. And what I always recommend when it comes to content, whether it's shooting a video, writing a post, writing an article, and everything, make it for one person. That makes it very, very easy. Every one of my videos, every piece of content I've made, it always has just one person in mind where I'm like, you know what? Sally, who's the sales rep, like she had this question, or, this would be really helpful for you. Sometimes I make a lot of my content, I make it for me. Like there's a version of me from like the past. I'm like, when I started, I wish somebody told me this. I make that content. So you never know. And again, it's always a journey. Sometimes the idea of creating content is just documenting. I mean, look, think about Instagram stories. What the hell is Instagram stories? Is Instagram stories overproduced like cinematic content? No, it's just the day in the life. And a lot of people, they just want to live the day in the life of another person because their life is not that great. Maybe they're looking for inspiration. They're looking for ideas. Maybe they're just looking to disconnect. Social media in this is an escape, right? And so sometimes that's what people want. So, for example, like some of the, like, I'm sure Daigo does it anyway, but like, I'm sure somebody might look at some of Daigo's posts. Like, for example, there's some that he's had like when he was hiking and stuff, right? And, and somebody might say like, oh, well, Daigo Tanaka can do that, but I can't do that because who's going to care that I went on a hike? You have no idea. That actually inspired me. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like there's a hill close to my house. I should go hiking, right? He indirectly had an influence on me, right? And that's what you want to think about content is that if you're a business owner, think about how powerful it is if you're trying to sell to a CEO or to a VP or something, and something in your content from your personal life, like how you spend time with your family, maybe a hobby you picked and everything, something like that indirectly influenced their personal life. Let me tell you how persuasive you're going to be when you have that meeting, because they've already had a connection where they learned something from you. That's the key, because the human brain can't separate things. This is why people ask me, like, why did I start a book show many, many, many years ago? Like, I started a live book show. I did a book a week every week for like 3 years. Why did I do that? Because I wanted something that was easy to do, that was replicable and everything. But guess what? No matter who you are, CEO, investor, something, at some point, somebody watched a video of my book reviews and they learned something from me. And by that fact, they've put me in a category in their head that I stay. Whether I know something else or not is not the point. The fact is, I'm a teacher and I taught them something, which puts me in an authority position, right?
Yeah. Let me add to that. My recent example is that while it was on Twitter, I found somebody's tweet. He has just a few followers, just 30 followers or something, and then talking about like probiotic. And then because I was in the writing school with him, and I started to read about him. And after that, every time I open the fridge, see like yogurt and fermented food, I think about him, and then I consciously start eating more probiotic because of him. And then he's just a 30 follower account, but he's already thought leader in my mind. And so again, really like I appreciate, Omar, that you brought up this like thought leader new definition that connected to your persuasion. And I never thought about that. Yeah, thank you.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, with that being said, I gotta go. Daigo's gotta go. We'll probably do more of these things because it seems like a lot of people enjoyed it. I was surprised we had a good amount of people also watching on YouTube and on Twitter. And so with that being said, go to omnicreator.club, use the code OmniStream, give it a try, get plugged into the community. I know you're gonna love it. And until next time, we'll see you later. Okay.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
See you, everybody.